Welcome back, fellow shop rats. Today we are actually back on the Stitches Challenger. We're going to try to get this one last little piece of floor up here in the corner finished up today so that we can get this floor installed in the car and get the rest of this side of the car buttoned up so that I can move my little purple stuff over there and start working on that side. Let's watch the show intro. We'll see you in about 5 seconds. I'm Mike.
This is My Cars Shop.
A lot of you know that we do things a little bit different around here than most YouTube channels do. And it's not so much about completing a project here on the show as it is about just spending a day with me in the shop working on whatever it is I happen to be working on. The reason I chose to do that is, number one, it's different than what most other channels do, but also number two, it gives you a more realistic picture of what it actually is like to restore a car or rebuild a car or whatever it is that you want to call this stuff that we do. And I think that's important. When you watch some of these regular cable TV show type things where they get a car from rust to a polished metal miracle in 1 hour, it's very unrealistic and you have no idea the amount of time that it takes. Now, I could focus on one project, I could focus on one car, but the reality is I get bored and I get burned out. And so having a variety of things to work on really helps me stay motivated and focused. And of course, you guys help me stay motivated and focused also by continuing to turn out the episodes that I do. So all of that to say, that's the reason why we are going here and doing this last piece. I still need to clean up the frame rail underneath and get some paint on the inside of that. So the floor piece from about here up is not attached yet. We also need to do some work on the center hump. There's a little bit there yet to finish. But in order to accomplish any of that, we've got to get this one little 8" by 8" piece done up here in the corner. Now, the very first thing I need to do is go online and take a look at that piece of floor pan and make sure that I know exactly what it looks like. Not that it really matters because it's my car and I can build it any way I want. But the factory did have a reason for doing things the way they do. So I'm going to get around here and get this taken out, and then we'll start the process of making a new one. I also want to mention that one of the big challenges in doing this by myself is I don't have a cameraman here to change the angle. So I appreciate your patience and the fact that I'm trying to work here and there's really no place I can put you that you're going to see very well except for where you're at. And I don't like that. I like to try to change camera angles a lot and make it more interesting. But today, this is just the way that it is. So this is more about showing you what's involved in the project. If I would just shut up and start doing the work instead of sitting here talking about it, y'all might stick around and watch the rest of this. But if I keep talking, probably just going to watch everybody disappear because I'm really not doing anything anyway. This is pretty much all that it was. That was a miserable little thing to get out of there because it was attached up here and it was attached down here, and I had to pie slice more of it out of there and air chisel and pie slice and air chisel and wow, no wonder I've been putting that off. That was I literally spent an hour getting that one little piece out of there. So you want to talk about realistic bumps, warts, and scars? That's the way it is. But the good news is it's out. So I'll take you around there and we'll show you what it looks like and we'll start making the new piece that goes in there. So there we go. So it was attached to this splash apron down here as well as to the firewall and then over here on the side. So I still got to clean up some stuff over here. But I think I'm ready to go ahead and make that piece that goes in there. So I think we'll make a template maybe and we'll go from there. This is going to be yeah, it's going to be a fun one. Yuck. That seems like the perfect piece of metal right there. Let's just die to death. That'll work good. Well, what the actual heck? All right, there we go. There we go. All right. One of the things that I'm always on the hunt for is good cardboard for templates. And when my buddy Chris was up to bring all the metal up for the Golden Mullet chassis table, he had these calendars from his work that are pretty good. And he saved me a bunch of money by finding these for me because they were good for templates and I don't have to go to that wall thing and spend money, which I did. It's in the house, but I bought a bunch for some other stuff that I was doing, but this is here and it's free and we'll use it. Let's get this laid out, and oh, there we go. It's always amazing to me how big of a piece of metal you need to make such a small patch. But if you think about it, we've got to bend an L on one side, we've got to bend an L on the other side, we've got to do a curve down. There's just a lot of different components to this, and so having a big enough piece of metal to allow for these, almost 3/4 inch flanges and so forth is, it's much bigger than you would think for such a little piece, and it's a complicated piece to make. It really is. So, there's a lot to it. So we've got our first piece bent now. I put it over in the brake, and this is going to go in the car like this, and it needs to curve this way, so we'll do that in the shrinker stretcher. But I need to take a little notch out of here because I need to bend an L this way as well. So we're going to do that right now. And it's not a real big L, but it's definitely got an L there. Okay. We got to have all this stuff in position before we can bend this curve, otherwise it won't be in the right spot. Okay, so now I can put that in the brake and that up. I'm going to give myself just a little bit more clearance there, Clarence. Okay, there we go. Better too much than not enough. Okay, now I can put that in there, and that piece that goes there is only about a 1/2 inch. So we'll get our line drawn in the sand here where we want it. Still had to cut more even then because for clearance on the brake, but we got that bent. So this will go in the car. This is the firewall, this is the side, and now we need to that down, and there's another in here we'll have to do, but we're close. Okay, so you can see now we go along here, and then this comes up here, which is what we have there, so that's good. And then I had to just take down here and bring this line down further to where it meets here. So now I know my dimension from here up to here is where I need to make this thing bend the other direction. So I got to just take and make a dimension on that real quick so that I go, and I'll give myself a little, maybe. No, I think we'll be all right. Yeah, because I can always, if this is too short, I can always tip the floor down just a little bit. It doesn't have to be perfect. So I think we're going to be good. I still got to strip that little piece of the other one off of there, but I'm not worried about that right now. So I got that in the brake here, and see if I can do this. Something like that. I'm only guessing at the angle, but it's not that big a deal. So we'll take that out of there now. And we'll go see how that fits in the car. And there we go. So we're getting close. Yes, there's a little bit of blending to do here, but I think this will get cut back quite a bit for one thing in here because this is too long. But the next piece now that's the most important is to get that bent up there. So I need to take my marker up here and figure out exactly where that bend is going to be. Make sure that we're over this way far enough, which we're not. So I'll just compensate for that, and we'll put that in the shrinker stretcher, and we will shrink that to start putting that curvature in there. know we've shared this kind of stuff with you a lot, but as some of you said, this is the gold on the channel. This is the stuff you really like to see, is how I make this stuff. And just a side note also, while I'm doing this, as I might as well yak while I'm doing this, for people that are new on the channel, the old timers know exactly where I'm coming from, but that's a little bit on the thick side, so let's back up. There we go. Why am I making all of this instead of buying it? Well, first of all, we had ordered a quarter panel for the Challenger that took 18 months to get. We had ordered a trunk floor for the Challenger that took 4 months to get. We ordered floor pans for the Duster that one came within 4 weeks. The other one's still not here, and it's been 3 months. Some people, I think, tend to live with their head in the sand and think that there are not supply chain issues out there. Second of all, from the beginning, as you've heard me say, Stitches was always intended to be a fabrication project, to demonstrate something that maybe is becoming a lost art, especially on a unibody. And if you go back and look at the episodes, we made rear unibody frame rails right here with this equipment. And you don't have to go out and spend a ton of money, and that's kind of the point of the channel and what I do. The Forsyth Duster, we're doing mostly, not 100%, because some things we can't get, but we're doing that one mostly with purchase parts. So the Golden Mullet, that's another complete beast. That's a completely different thing. A lot of hand fabricating on that, but there's not so much about sheet metal work on that one as it is about building a tube chassis. So you get my point, is each project has a context, and each context is different for each car. So, oh yeah, kind of screwed that up, didn't I? Because I can't really bend right here if, I wonder I'm having problems up here. I didn't allow, yeah, well, I gotta make a little slice here is what I'm saying. So for some reason the camera didn't start. So I just went through and just peened this over after we made a slice here. So now I can go back into the shrinker stretcher, or the shrinker, and just shrink that down some more, and get this where we need it. It's got to suck down a lot more. One thing I wanted to note is when the material's this thick, it's really hard to get this material to stretch when you have that big of a wide thing. So what I tend to do is start about halfway out and then shrink that, and then go in the rest of the way. That makes it easier because you're doing it in basically 2 cuts. Okay, let's take it to the car and see how we're doing here. It's looking pretty good though, isn't it? Okay, so we just need a little bit more out here. That should be pretty easy to accomplish, but we're starting our curvature in the right spot, and so we need a little bit more in here down to here to get that to really swoop down. Of course, our other floor pan is kind of in the way that we made, so we'll have to loosen that up here in a second, but you get the idea of what we're doing. We're just snuggling it in and going from there. Okay, so this is kind of what's getting in our way, was I had this clamped out here, so get that one out of there. That'll allow us to slip in a little bit better on the inside now, and so that gives us a little sandwich room to go down in between as we put this piece in there. Okay, so it's fitting down in there really nice. I'm really happy with that. So we've got a job of work down here to get that figured out, but I want to clamp that up in position and kind of get it all, like, you know, fitting like it's kind of supposed to be fitting. It seems a bit high over here, and even though we look like we're following good, I think I'm just going to go ahead and put a mild shrink right in through here to just kind of pull that down, because this really is fitting beautifully over here. I like the contour to the floor, but it's like, well, it's just kind of up, and I think we'll just run some, well, I need to pull about a 1/4 inch down, and I think that'll make a huge difference in the way this fits. So this is the detail stuff that takes time. This is the stuff I absolutely love doing. Is just, I'm kind of, you know, I was really struggling with doing this today and feeling unmotivated and burned out, but as I'm getting more into this, this is becoming more and more fun. And it's a good, especially a good break from all the phone calls I'm getting today with business related stuff and whiny customers. And just like that, it's perfect. So now we can suck it up into there, and we can weld it down to here, and we can Cleco it to this floor pan here and get that welded up. And we got a little blendage to do down here, but I'm thinking we might do that right out of the car. I'm not sure yet. That might be the best thing to do is just pull that right out of the car and get that attached there. But I may need to go a little further here. We'll see. First thing I'm going to do is shorten this up by about that much. That's about where it needs to be to blend into the existing floor that I made. We got a little modification to do there, but I think that's going to be the first big requirement, and that will help this fit down in there better, and I can get a better feel for how it needs to blend into the floor. Where I'm at right now is I just want to tack weld this down on there. I think I got it in the right position, and that'll help me get it kind of to fit into the floor better now. Plus there's a whole bunch of work to do down here as well, but one little step at a time. I'm hoping that I may not have my angle right here, and that's fine, we can split it off of there, but main thing is I want to get it connected up here. There we go. So I messed this up here as I thought. I need to snip a couple of those welds off and that down, but I had to pull everything back out of here to start fitting this properly. It was just too constricting and too constraining and too restraining. So yeah, this is it's good. So this is kind of the nature of fabricating, is it's fit, take apart, fit it again, take it apart, fit it again, take it apart, over and over and over again until it's done. All right, we're making progress. Warts and all, I screwed up here and I cut too much off. No big deal. We'll put a patch in there and this will look nice, but we're not pulled into place yet. But I want to get this out of here now that I have this all positioned properly, and get this trimmed up and get that welded to that, so we're in good shape there. So little by little, it's a tricky thing, but you know, you do what you got to do and you get it done. All right, there we go. Progress. That looks good. So I need to do a little trimmage down here now and get that where I want it. But so far so good. It's starting to come together. I got to fix my screw up here. And the other thing I keep having problems with is over here. I really have to stretch this to get it to fit. I've got to really think about how I want to handle that. I may end up flattening this down and just putting another L piece on here so I don't have to keep stretching that. But I need to get it in the car and make sure everything fits and then make that decision. So we're not going to join those together quite yet, but I'm going to go ahead and make my cut here and then get this piece made, and we should be in good shape. Okay, it's starting to come together. So I want to go fit that in the car and then make a decision about what I'm going to do here and see what else needs to happen. Okay, that looks really good. So I just need to join that to that. I think this is going to be okay here. It's just, I think this bend here is a little bit too much, and it just needs to be straightened out a little bit, and that's why when I put this bolt in here, it comes in, fills in. It's going to fit nice. I put a Cleco here to help things, and that straightened everything out. So I think we're going to be okay there. So I need to make a little patch piece to go in there. So I think that's going to be my next little tidbit. I'm going to go ahead and run a screw in here like I had. That will help pull this over. So when I make this piece, everything should fall into place. But I think this is the issue, is it's not so much that this piece is too short. It's just that this is not, it's not bent quite right. So we should be fine. And it's starting to come together. So I got my strip made, and I was going to take this over to the bench, and the more I thought about it, I think I'm going to tack it in place here first, and then I'll take it over to the bench to finish it up. But it's finally starting to come together. Man, I have spent 6 hours working on this little patch. It's crazy sometimes how these little things seem to take the longest, but as I said earlier, it's no wonder I was dreading it. just like that, she's in place. So we'll take it out of there. We will weld it up better, and we'll get it, we'll get it better. But man, that was a job. Whew. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how it's done. Looks great. Yes, there's some stitches to be seen and some seam sealer to be seen, and it's under a frickin' carpet. I don't get why people would just blow gaskets over stuff like that. To me, that looks amazing, and the satisfaction is I've made all of these floor pans myself. Yes, we got some work to finish back in here, but this side is getting real close. I hope tomorrow to be like really banging away hard at this, getting some of this stuff done up, so I'll share that with you. But look at how great that looks up there. That's just the cat's meow. So it's got to come out one more time, of course, but the fact that everything fit back in there again together really excites me and makes me happy. So that's a really good thing, and couldn't be happier about that. Time, 7 hours to get that little piece done. Crazy, isn't it? But other than a few moments of tearing my hair out and being frustrated, it was a lot of fun to do. So more coming on this 86 truck. Definitely going to be on that Forsyth Duster real soon, and more coming on stitches. So stick around. Don't go away. There's 430 episodes or so here on the channel that you're not going to want to miss. And as I said, my approach and my philosophy is I'm not here to accomplish a project that you're going to see from beginning to completion. I'm here to share a day with you of what it's really like to work in the shop. All right, that'll do it. We're on the face thing. Instagram loves us and does the cookie thing. We're here on YouTube. Share the videos in any social media platforms you might be on, and any appropriate discussion forums, stuff like that. Share this with people you think would enjoy what we do here. All right, that'll do it. Oh, rock!